Hi, welcome to the wood shop where I'm building tiny guitars. Here's a bunch of my guitars of the past, mistakes and successes, failures and crowning achievements. Oh, here's a chicken. There are gratuitous chickens in this film, by the way. She's been a little ill lately. I don't know, she stays on my workbench. It's been like a month now she's been on my workbench. Anyway, so here's what I'm doing. I am making another guitar to replace this one because I need to be making guitars, you know. So I'm picking out from this 2x4. I build guitars in a really special way that the main body of it comes from a single mahogany 2x4, or maybe soon to be black locust, because that's a local wood. I'm choosing the grain here. Hope you can see this. It's straight grain here where the body of the guitar is going to be formed. And then the neck here where the grain comes upward. And it conforms with what the neck of the guitar will be carved into. And then the grain goes downward here. So this is really perfect. And then here is where the headstock is. If I lay out the guitar like this, this is the body where the 1/8 inch thick pieces will be bent into this shape like that. Then here's the neck, which will be carved out. This one's seen better days, you know. And then here's the neck where the frets will be laid on top. So that's the wood selection. My method of building a guitar is very wood efficient and time efficient. And I've been developing it for 5 years now. They really are hardy. This one, you know, has been smashed upon the ground for many different reasons. Chicken. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to plane down this wood on my planer. I'm doing it outside so I don't disturb the ill chicken. So I'm planing this down to exactly 2 inches wide to give a smooth face. I've already transferred the marks to the top of the board to show where the neck ends and the headstock begins. So, hearing protection, here we go. So I've got this piece of mahogany planed on 3 sides, and I have the table saw set up with the blade exactly perpendicular to the table. You can see here that it's going to make a perpendicular cut to this board. And here I have marked in pencil the place where I need to stop cutting, and also right here I've marked on the guide the place where my blade actually stops cutting. So I have to bring this up to here and then stop. And you can see that the blade cuts not quite up to the top, so it'll leave the rest to be done on the bandsaw. And I have it set to result in a thickness of the side here, which is 5/32 of an inch. You can see what it's going to leave on the side there. That side is the thin piece of wood that will be bending into the side boards of the guitar. Then I set the saw blade to cut just the very narrow part of the other side of the piece of wood. This cut is a little bit trickier, but it works fine. And now you can see what results is that this piece of wood has 1/8 inch pieces cut all the way down to about where the neck joint begins, and there's just a little bit left at the top there that has to be cut on the bandsaw. So now I'm over at the bandsaw and I have it adjusted to fit this piece of wood, and the blade is ready to slice through that little bit that's at the bottom there. And it's easy to guide because the table saw cut guides the saw blade. Now the next step is to free the big piece of wood that I've cut away, and I'm going to cut it here along where I've sort of drawn with pencil. And then this will still leave some of this stuff here, which I have to carve out with a chisel, but that's not a big deal. And then I can carve a nice rounded exit for the sound through the sound hole here. Alright, so that should do it. Here you can see I've cut out the end of this 2x4, and I think one little tap should set this free. And now here we have two beautiful sides. Needs a little sanding at the bottom because of the the way that the bandsaw doesn't exactly line up with the table saw cut, but that's not a big deal. And then a little bit of carving out here, and we're ready for the bending. Well, it's been a beautiful day. I went swimming at the pond, picked blueberries, had some beautiful discussions with a beloved one. And then I got home and I worked on this some more. What I did was to, first of all, chip out some of this stuff here. And then I set up my hot pipe right here, which has a glowing electric heating element on the inside, 600 watts. And then I bent this 1/8 inch thick piece along this hot pipe with water. See, I've got a bucket here with a rag in it. So I use the wet rag to wet down the wood like this. Then I come along to the hot pipe and I bend it, and I need to use two hands for this, so I can't film it actually, but basically I put some pressure which bends the wood, and the heat of the hot pipe makes steam from the water, which then goes into the wood pores and plasticizes the lignin which is within there by melting it at a high temperature. And then when it cools, it sets again. It's kind of like wax molding, but in a more firm, stiff sort of way. And this thing has a tone now. It's up there. It's got a beautiful tone there. So then I took this thing over to the bandsaw and I roughed out the blank, which means I basically cut the form of the neck and the headstock here. That's from the piece that is still solid here. So the next thing I have to do here is to bend the other side. So alas, my number 9 guitar was only a dream. My number 9 dream. 14 August 2013. First of all, I found the perfect piece of wood, but then I cut it in the wrong direction. I cut off the wrong side for the body of the guitar, and I kept the wrong side for the neck, and therefore the grain was not correct. And I suffered a fatal blow when I was bending the second side. Complete failure. But you know what? I embrace failure. Failure is a prelude to success. My number 9 guitar is complete. Now I can move on to number 10. And number 10 will be a sweet one. With every failure, I gain another success in the future. Persistence is the key. And I'm not giving up.